بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
About what are they asking one another? About the great news, that over which they are in disagreement. No, they are going to know. Then, no, they are going to know. Have we not made the earth a resting place, and the mountains as stakes? And we created you in pairs, and made your sleep a means for rest, and made the night as clothing, and made the day for livelihood, and constructed above you 7 strong heavens, and made therein a burning lamp, and sent down from the rain clouds pouring water, that we may bring forth thereby grain and vegetation, and gardens of entwined growth. Indeed, the day of judgment is an appointed time, the day the horn is blown, and you will come forth in multitudes, and the heaven is opened, and will become gateways, and the mountains are removed, and will be but a mirage. Indeed, hell has been lying in wait for the transgressors, a place of return, in which they will remain for ages unending. They will not taste therein any coolness or drink, except scalding water and foul purulence, an appropriate recompense. Indeed, they were not expecting an account, and denied our verses with emphatic denial. But all things we have enumerated in writing. So taste the penalty, and never will we increase you, except in torment. Indeed, for the righteous is attainment, gardens and grapevines, and full-breasted companions of equal age, and a full cup. No ill speech will they hear therein, or any falsehood. As reward from your Lord, a generous gift made due by account. From the Lord of the heavens and the earth and whatever is between them, the most merciful. They possess not from him authority for speech. The day that the Spirit and the angels will stand in rows, they will not speak except for one whom the most merciful permits, and he will say what is correct. That is the true day. So he who wills may take to his Lord a way of return. Indeed, we have warned you of a near punishment, on the day when a man will observe what his hands have put forth, and the disbeliever will say, "Oh, I wish that I were dust."
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
By those angels who extract with violence, and by those who remove with ease, and by those who glide as if swimming, and those who race each other in a race, and those who arrange each matter. On the day the blast of the horn will convulse creation, there will follow it the subsequent one. Hearts that day will tremble, their eyes humbled. They are presently saying, "Will we indeed be returned to our former state of life, even if we should be decayed bones?" They say, that then would be a losing return. Indeed, it will be but one shout, and suddenly they will be alert upon the earth's surface. Has there reached you the story of Moses, when his Lord called to him in the sacred valley of Duwa, "Go to Pharaoh, indeed he has transgressed, and say to him, would you be willing to purify yourself? And let me guide you to your Lord so you would fear him." And he showed him the greatest sign. But Pharaoh denied and disobeyed. Then he turned his back, plotting, and he gathered his people and called out, and said, "I am your most exalted Lord." So Allah seized him in exemplary punishment for the last and the first transgression. Indeed, in that is a lesson for whoever would fear Allah. Are you a more difficult creation, or is the heaven? Allah constructed it. He raised its ceiling and proportioned it, and He darkened its night and extracted its brightness, and after that He spread the earth. He extracted from it its water and its pasture, and the mountains He set firmly, as enjoyment for you and your grazing livestock. But when there comes the greatest overwhelming calamity, the day when man will remember that for which he strove, and hellfire will be exposed for all those who see. So as for he who transgressed, and preferred the life of the world, then indeed hellfire will be his refuge. But as for he who feared the position of his Lord and prevented the soul from unlawful inclination, then indeed paradise will be his refuge. They ask you, O Muhammad, about the hour, when is its arrival? In what position are you that you should mention it? To your Lord is its finality. You are only a warner for those who fear it. It will be, on the day they see it, as though they had not remained in the world except for an afternoon or a morning thereof.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
The Prophet frowned and turned away, because there came to him the blind man, interrupting. But what would make you perceive, O Muhammad, that perhaps he might be purified, or be reminded, and the remembrance would benefit him? As for he who thinks himself without need, to him you give attention, and not upon you is any blame if he will not be purified. But as for he who came to you striving for knowledge, while he fears Allah, from him you are distracted. No, indeed, these verses are a reminder, so whoever wills may remember it. It is recorded in honored sheets, exalted and purified, carried by the hands of messenger angels. Noble and dutiful. Destroyed is man, how disbelieving is he. From what substance did he create him? From a sperm drop he created him and destined for him. Then he eased the way for him. Then he causes his death and provides a grave for him. Then when he wills, he will resurrect him. No, man has not yet accomplished what he commanded him. Then let mankind look at his food, how we poured down water in torrents. Then we broke open the earth, splitting it with sprouts, and caused to grow within it grain, and grapes and herbage, and olive and palm trees, and gardens of dense shrubbery, and fruit and grass, as enjoyment for you and your grazing livestock. But when there comes the deafening blast, on the day a man will flee from his brother, and his mother and his father, and his wife and his children. For every man that day will be a matter adequate for him. Some faces that day will be bright, laughing, rejoicing at good news. And other faces that day will have upon them dust. Blackness will cover them. Those are the disbelievers, the wicked ones.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
When the sun is wrapped up in darkness, and when the stars fall dispersing, and when the mountains are removed, and when full-term she-camels are neglected, and when the wild beasts are gathered, and when the seas are filled with flame, and when the souls are paired, and when the girl who was buried alive is asked for what sin she was killed, and when the pages are made public, and when the sky is stripped away, and when hellfire is set ablaze, and when paradise is brought near, a soul will then know what it has brought with it. So I swear by the retreating stars, those that run their courses and disappear, and by the night as it closes in, and by the dawn when it breathes, that indeed the Quran is a word conveyed by a noble messenger, who is possessed of power and with the owner of the throne, secure in position, obeyed there in the heavens and trustworthy. And Prophet Muhammad is not at all mad, and he has already seen Gabriel in the clear horizon, and Muhammad is not a withholder of knowledge of the unseen, and the Quran is not the word of a devil expelled from the heavens. So where are you going? It is not except a reminder to the worlds, for whoever wills among you to take a right course, and you do not will except that Allah wills, Lord of the worlds.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
When the sky breaks apart, and when the stars fall scattering, and when the seas are erupted, and when the contents of graves are scattered, a soul will then know what it has put forth and kept back. O mankind, what has deceived you concerning your Lord, the Generous, who created you, proportioned you, and balanced you? In whatever form He willed has He assembled you. No, but you deny the recompense. And indeed, appointed over you are keepers, noble and recording. They know whatever you do. Indeed, the righteous will be in pleasure, and indeed, the wicked will be in hellfire. They will enter to burn therein on the day of recompense, and never therefrom will they be absent. And what can make you know what is the day of recompense? Then, what can make you know what is the day of recompense? It is the day when a soul will not possess for another soul power to do a thing, and the command, that day, is entirely with Allah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Woe to those who give less than due, who, when they take a measure from people, take in full. But if they give by measure or by weight to them, they cause loss. Do they not think that they will be resurrected? For a tremendous day, the day when mankind will stand before the Lord of the worlds? No, indeed, the record of the wicked is in Sijin. And what can make you know what is Sijin? It is their destination, recorded in a register inscribed. Woe that day to the deniers, who deny the day of recompense. And none deny it except every sinful transgressor. When our verses are recited to him, he says, legends of the former peoples. No, rather the stain has covered their hearts of that which they were earning. No, indeed, from their Lord that day they will be partitioned. Then indeed they will enter and burn in hell fire. Then it will be said to them, this is what you used to deny. No, indeed the record of the righteous is in Al-Liyin. And what can make you know what is Al-Liyin? It is their destination, recorded in a register inscribed, which is witnessed by those brought near to Allah. Indeed, the righteous will be in pleasure, on adorned couches, observing. You will recognize in their faces the radiance of pleasure. They will be given to drink pure wine which was sealed. The last of it is musk. So for this let the competitors compete. And its mixture is of tasneem, a spring from which those near to Allah drink. Indeed, those who committed crimes used to laugh at those who believed. And when they passed by them, they would exchange derisive glances. And when they returned to their people, they would return jesting. And when they saw them, they would say, indeed, those are truly lost. But they had not been sent as guardians over them. So today, those who believed are laughing at the disbelievers, on adorned couches, observing. Have the disbelievers not been rewarded this day for what they used to do?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
When the sky has split open, and has listened to its Lord and was obligated to do so, and when the earth has been extended, and has cast out that within it and relinquished it, and has listened to its Lord and was obligated to do so. O mankind, indeed you are laboring toward your Lord with great exertion, and will meet it. Then as for he who is given his record in his right hand, he will be judged with an easy account, and return to his people in happiness. But as for he who is given his record behind his back, he will cry out for destruction, and enter to burn in a blaze. Indeed, he had once been among his people in happiness. Indeed, he had thought he would never return to Allah. But yes, indeed, his Lord was ever of him seeing. So I swear by the twilight glow, and by the night and what it envelops, and by the moon when it becomes full, that you will surely embark upon state after state. So what is the matter with them that they do not believe? And when the Quran is recited to them, they do not prostrate to Allah. But those who have disbelieved deny, and Allah is most knowing of what they keep within themselves. So give them tidings of a painful punishment, except for those who believe and do righteous deeds. For them is a reward uninterrupted.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
By the sky containing great stars, and by the promised day, and by the witness and what is witnessed. Destroyed were the companions of the trench, containing the fire full of fuel, when they were sitting near it. And they, to what they were doing against the believers, were witnesses. And they resented them not, except because they believed in Allah, the exalted in might, the praiseworthy, to whom belongs the dominion of the heavens and the earth, and Allah over all things is witness. Indeed, those who have tortured the believing men and believing women, and then have not repented, will have the punishment of hell, and they will have the punishment of the burning fire. Indeed, those who have believed and done righteous deeds will have gardens beneath which rivers flow. That is the great attainment. Indeed, the assault of your Lord is severe. Indeed, it is He who originates creation and repeats. And He is the forgiving, the affectionate, honorable owner of the throne, effector of what He intends. Has there reached you the story of the soldiers, those of Pharaoh and Thamud? But they who disbelieve are in persistent denial, while Allah encompasses them from behind. But this is an honored Quran, inscribed in a preserved slate.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
By the sky and the night comer. And what can make you know what is the night comer? It is the piercing star. There is no soul but that it has over it a protector. So let man observe from what he was created. He was created from a fluid, ejected, emerging from between the backbone and the ribs. Indeed, Allah, to return him to life, is able. The day when secrets will be put on trial, then man will have no power or any helper. By the sky which returns rain, and by the earth which cracks open. Indeed, the Quran is a decisive statement, and it is not amusement. Indeed, they are planning a plan, but I am planning a plan. So allow time for the disbelievers. Leave them a while.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
Exalt the name of your Lord, the Most High, who created and proportioned, and who destined and then guided, and who brings out the pasture, and then makes it black stubble. We will make you recite, O Muhammad, and you will not forget, except what Allah should will. Indeed, He knows what is declared and what is hidden, and we will ease you toward ease. So remind if the reminder should benefit. He who fears Allah will be reminded, but the wretched one will avoid it, he who will enter and burn in the greatest fire, neither dying therein nor living. He has certainly succeeded who purifies himself, and mentions the name of his Lord and prays. But you prefer the worldly life, while the hereafter is better and more enduring. Indeed, this is in the former scriptures, the scriptures of Abraham and Moses.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
Has there reached you the report of the overwhelming event? Some faces that day will be humbled, working hard and exhausted. They will enter to burn in an intensely hot fire. They will be given drink from a boiling spring. For them there will be no food except from a poisonous, thorny plant, which neither nourishes nor avails against hunger. Other faces that day will show pleasure. With their effort they are satisfied, in an elevated garden, wherein they will hear no unsuitable speech. Within it is a flowing spring. Within it are couches raised high, and cups put in place, and cushions lined up, and carpets spread around. Then do they not look at the camels, how they are created, and at the sky, how it is raised, and at the mountains, how they are erected, and at the earth, how it is spread out? So remind, O Muhammad, you are only a reminder. You are not over them a controller. However, he who turns away and disbelieves, then Allah will punish him with the greatest punishment. Indeed, to us is their return. Then indeed, upon us is their account.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
By the dawn, and by the 10 nights, and by the even number and the odd, and by the night when it passes. Is there not in all that an oath sufficient for one of perception? Have you not considered how your Lord dealt with Ad, with Iram, who had lofty pillars, the likes of whom had never been created in the land, and with Thamud, who carved out the rocks in the valley, and with Pharaoh, owner of the stakes, all of whom oppressed within the lands, and increased therein the corruption. So your Lord poured upon them a scourge of punishment. Indeed, your Lord is in observation. And as for man, when his Lord tries him and thus is generous to him and favors him, he says, "My Lord has honored me." But when he tries him and restricts his provision, he says, "My Lord has humiliated me." No, but you do not honor the orphan, and you do not encourage one another to feed the poor, and you consume inheritance, devouring it all together, and you love wealth with immense love. No, when the earth has been leveled, pounded and crushed, and your Lord has come and the angels rank upon rank, and brought within view that day is hell. That day man will remember, but what good to him will be the remembrance? He will say, "Oh, I wish I had sent ahead some good for my life." So on that day, none will punish as severely as his punishment, and none will bind as severely as his binding of the evildoers. To the righteous it will be said, "O reassured soul, return to your Lord, well pleased and pleasing to him, and enter among my righteous servants, and enter my paradise."
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
I swear by this city Mecca, and you, O Muhammad, are free of restriction in this city, and by the Father and that which was born of him. We have certainly created man into hardship. Does he think that never will anyone overcome him? He says, "I have spent wealth in abundance." Does he think that no one has seen him? Have we not made for him 2 eyes, and a tongue and 2 lips, and have shown him the 2 ways? But he has not broken through the difficult pass. And what can make you know what is breaking through the difficult pass? It is the freeing of a slave, or feeding on a day of severe hunger, an orphan of near relationship, or a needy person in misery, and then being among those who believed and advised one another to patience and advised one another to compassion. Those are the companions of the right. But they who disbelieved in our signs, those are the companions of the left. Over them will be fire closed in.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
By the sun and its brightness, and by the moon when it follows it, and by the day when it displays it, and by the night when it conceals it, and by the sky and he who constructed it, and by the earth and he who spread it, and by the soul and he who proportioned it, and inspired it with discernment of its wickedness and its righteousness. He has succeeded who purifies it, and he has failed who instills it with corruption. Thamud denied their prophet by reason of their transgression, when the most wretched of them was sent forth. And the Messenger of Allah said to them, "Do not harm the she-camel of Allah, or prevent her from her drink." But they denied him and hamstrung her. So their Lord brought down upon them destruction for their sin, and made it equal upon all of them. And he does not fear the consequence thereof.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
By the night when it covers, and by the day when it appears, and by he who created the male and female. Indeed, your efforts are diverse. As for he who gives and fears Allah, and believes in the best reward, we will ease him toward ease. But as for he who withholds and considers himself free of need, and denies the best reward, we will ease him toward difficulty. And what will his wealth avail him when he falls? Indeed, incumbent upon us is guidance. And indeed, to us belongs the hereafter and the first life. So I have warned you of a fire which is blazing. None will enter to burn therein except the most wretched one, who had denied and turned away. But the righteous one will avoid it, he who gives from his wealth to purify himself, and not giving for anyone who has done him a favor to be rewarded, but only seeking the countenance of his Lord Most High, and he is going to be satisfied.
Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim.
By the morning brightness, and by the night when it covers with darkness, your Lord has not taken leave of you, O Muhammad, nor has he detested you, and the hereafter is better for you than the first life. And your Lord is going to give you, and you will be satisfied. Did he not find you an orphan and give you refuge? And he found you lost and guided you, and he found you poor and made you self-sufficient. So as for the orphan, do not oppress him, and as for the petitioner, do not repel him, but as for the favor of your Lord, report it.
Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim.
Did we not expand for you, O Muhammad, your breast, and we removed from you your burden, which had weighed upon your back, and raised high for you your repute? For indeed, with hardship will be ease. Indeed, with hardship will be ease. So when you have finished your duties, then stand up for worship, and to your Lord direct your longing.
Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim.
By the fig and the olive, and by Mount Sinai, and by this secure city Mecca, we have certainly created man in the best of stature. Then we return him to the lowest of the low, except for those who believe and do righteous deeds, for they will have a reward uninterrupted. So what yet causes you to deny the recompense? Is not Allah the most just of judges?
Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim.
Recite in the name of your Lord who created man from a clinging substance. Recite, and your Lord is the most generous, who taught by the pen, taught man that which he knew not. No, but indeed man transgresses, because he sees himself self-sufficient. Indeed, to your Lord is the return. Have you seen the one who forbids a servant when he prays? Have you seen if he is upon guidance, or enjoins righteousness? Have you seen if he denies and turns away? Does he not know that Allah sees? No, if he does not desist, we will surely drag him by the forelock, a lying, sinning forelock. Then let him call his associates. We will call the angels of hell. No, do not obey him, but prostrate and draw near to Allah.
Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim.
Indeed, we sent the Quran down during the night of decree. And what can make you know what is the night of decree? The night of decree is better than 1,000 months. The angels and the Spirit descend therein by permission of their Lord for every matter. Peace it is until the emergence of dawn.
Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim.
Those who disbelieved among the people of the scripture and the polytheists were not to be parted from misbelief until there came to them clear evidence, a messenger from Allah reciting purified scriptures, within which are correct writings. Nor did those who were given the scripture become divided until after there had come to them clear evidence. And they were not commanded except to worship Allah, being sincere to Him in religion, inclining to truth, and to establish prayer and to give zakah, and that is the correct religion. Indeed, they who disbelieved among the people of the scripture and the polytheists will be in the fire of hell, abiding eternally therein. Those are the worst of creatures. Indeed, they who have believed and done righteous deeds, those are the best of creatures. Their reward with Allah will be gardens of perpetual residence, beneath which rivers flow, wherein they will abide forever, Allah being pleased with them and they with him. That is for whoever has feared his Lord.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
When the earth is shaken with its final earthquake, and the earth discharges its burdens, and man says, "What is wrong with it?" That day it will report its news, because your Lord has inspired it. That day the people will depart, separated into categories to be shown the result of their deeds. So whoever does an atom's weight of good will see it, and whoever does an atom's weight of evil will see it.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
By the racers panting, and the producers of sparks when striking, and the chargers at dawn, stirring up thereby clouds of dust, arriving thereby in the center collectively. Indeed, mankind to his Lord is ungrateful, and indeed he is to that a witness, and indeed he is in love of wealth intense. But does he not know that when the contents of the graves are scattered, and that within the breasts is obtained, indeed their Lord with them that day is fully acquainted.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
The striking calamity. What is the striking calamity? And what can make you know what is the striking calamity? It is the day when people will be like moths, dispersed, and the mountains will be like wool fluffed up. Then as for one whose scales are heavy with good deeds, he will be in a pleasant life. But as for one whose scales are light, his refuge will be an abyss. And what can make you know what that is? It is a fire intensely hot.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Competition in worldly increase diverts you, until you visit the graveyards. No, you are going to know. Then, no, you are going to know. No, if you only knew with knowledge of certainty, you will surely see the hell fire. Then you will surely see it with the eye of certainty. Then you will surely be asked that day about pleasure.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
By time, indeed mankind is in loss, except for those who have believed and done righteous deeds, and advised each other to truth, and advised each other to patience.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Woe to every scorner and mocker, who collects wealth and continuously counts it. He thinks that his wealth will make him immortal. No, he will surely be thrown into the crusher. And what can make you know what is the crusher? It is the fire of Allah, eternally fueled, which mounts directed at the hearts. Indeed, hellfire will be closed down upon them in extended columns.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Have you not considered, O Muhammad, how your Lord dealt with the companions of the elephant? Did he not make their plan into misguidance? And he sent against them birds in flocks, striking them with stones of hard clay, and he made them like eaten straw.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
For the accustomed security of the Quraysh, their accustomed security in the caravan of winter and summer, let them worship the Lord of this house, who has fed them, saving them from hunger, and made them safe, saving them from fear.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Have you seen the one who denies the recompense? For that is the one who drives away the orphan, and does not encourage the feeding of the poor. So woe to those who pray, but who are heedless of their prayer, those who make show of their deeds, and withhold simple assistance.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Indeed, we have granted you, O Muhammad, Al-Kawthar. So pray to your Lord and sacrifice to Him alone. Indeed, your enemy is the one cut off.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Say, O disbelievers, I do not worship what you worship, nor are you worshippers of what I worship, nor will I be a worshipper of what you worship, nor will you be worshippers of what I worship. For you is your religion, and for me is my religion.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
When the victory of Allah has come and the conquest, and you see the people entering into the religion of Allah in multitudes, then exalt Him with praise of your Lord and ask forgiveness of Him. Indeed, He is ever accepting of repentance.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
May the hands of Abu Lahab be ruined, and ruined is he. His wealth will not avail him, or that which he gained. He will enter to burn in a fire of blazing flame, and his wife as well, the carrier of firewood. Around her neck is a rope of twisted fiber.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Say, He is Allah, who is one. Allah, the eternal refuge. He neither begets nor is born, nor is there to Him any equivalent.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Say, I seek refuge in the Lord of daybreak, from the evil of that which He created, and from the evil of darkness when it settles, and from the evil of the blowers in knots, and from the evil of an envier when he envies.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Say, I seek refuge in the Lord of mankind, the Sovereign of mankind, the God of mankind, from the evil of the retreating whisperer, who whispers evil into the breasts of mankind, from among the jinn and mankind.